Alright, as promised, I got with Dan, and he sent me pictures, videos. We've been talking back and forth about how to make maple syrup. Now, we're going to go through about a 5-step process. Number 1, how to tap the tree. Tap the maple tree. 2, how to collect the sap. 3, how to boil the sap down. And 4, how to remove the actual syrup. Once you boil it down, how to get it out of the vat and bottle it up and everything. And number 5, how to eat it. We're going to talk about how to put it on some of the stuff to eat it on too. We got homemade donuts, we got ice cream, pancake, all kind of stuff. So anyway, let's get started by letting Dan show us how to tap the tree right now. Here we go. Dan has progressed a little bit since he was 10 years old, boiling off the sap on top of his mother's stove. He has actually gotten his family now to actually build an addition out here to actually do his evaporation processing. A whole addition here. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and let Dan tell us about tapping the tree. Step number 1.
Hey everybody, it's springtime in Vermont. Today is March 3rd, 2020. Springtime in Vermont means it's time to go out and do some sugaring. I'm going to put on the snowshoes. Misty's gonna come with me. We're gonna go tap some maple trees. Plan on tapping around 180 this year. We'll see how it turns out. Should be a good year. Okay, so I'll show you now how we tap a tree. First thing I do, I walk up. I've got my spouts already on. I left them. I picked all my lines up 2 years ago. Didn't tap last year. So I'm gonna reuse my spouts. A lot of people say to replace them, but I'm just in this for the fun of it, not trying to make a killing. So I'd pick a spot on the tree where I'm going to tap. Find that's last year's tap hole, so I like to be at least 10-12 inches away from it. I'm going to go down and I'm going to pick right here. That's where I'm going to tap. I drill in about 1 3/4, 2 inches. I try not to have to re-drill the hole or clean it out with a drill, but sometimes you have to. Then I usually put the spout in what I can by hand. Give it a few taps. And you'll hear it and feel it when it's seated in enough. As you can see, the spout's already filling up with sap. Runs a little bit milky at first, just until the little bit of wood and stuff off of the drill bit comes out of the hole, but that'll clear up within just a second. I just let it run on the ground for a little while till it cleans the lines all out good.
Old Dan's got pretty professional in his operation there. There are some people that like looking at some people's operations. They actually just collect it in 2-liter bottles, 5-gallon buckets and stuff right off the tree and carry the sap over to a place that they're going to evaporate out and all. But he's got an awesome setup that he's got now. All right, let's go ahead and start with collecting the sap. I'm going to show you a video now of Dan, how he collects the sap in his more sophisticated process. Check this out.
March 3rd, 2020. Just tapped today and it is coming in pretty good right now. The big line's got sap from 3 lines coming into that one. The others are just singles.
Alright, in the next process, step number 3, you got to boil the sap down. And it takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. Over 40 gallons. So it's a very lengthy process, and you got to get the heat up. He uses wood. Some people, he said, do use propane, natural gas, and all. And there's actually another process called reverse osmosis they use to take a lot of it out. And he said that reminds him of when his grandmother used to make baked beans. 2 processes. One, you cook them all day long, and they taste great. Or you throw them in the microwave, and they don't taste the same. So he's saying reverse osmosis does not give you the same flavor as boiling it out like he does. So it's a natural old way that everybody's done it for forever. So anyway, let's check out his process of boiling it down right here. Check Dan out.
Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, March 10th, 2020, and this is the journey of a drop of sap. By the time it's gotten this far, it's traveled, some of it has traveled close to 1,000 feet from the trees down through the little lines, and it comes into the sugar house. You can see it right there. It comes through the wall of the sugar house and then into the stainless steel bulk tank. Once it's in the bulk tank, this will fill up. This holds 550 gallons. And then I'll pump it through this line here. And I pump it up into the head tank. The head tank is another stainless steel tank. This one holds 100 gallons. And I'll usually run 60, 70 gallons of sap in that. Then it runs from that tank. It comes through a couple of valves. Runs down through this line here. Through a couple more valves. I got everything so I can shut it off and isolate anything that I need. That's the drain there. If I need to drain anything off. Then it runs over and it runs into the float box. And the float box is controlled by a float. And as there's enough sap in the pan, the float raises up and shuts it off. If it's calling for sap, it'll settle down a little bit. And you can hear it running in, see it running in right there. From the float box, it runs into the back pan, travels down one side of the back pan, up the other side of the back pan. You can see it's boiling really good right now. Once it comes through the back pan, it comes out around and into the front pan. Again, I've got a couple of valves that I can shut off to isolate anything that I need. And then it runs through the front pan, which has got 3 compartments. It runs over and through there, and eventually it comes to 7 degrees above the boiling point. Right now it's just at the boiling point, 212. Actually, water boils about 211 here. And then when it reaches 219 degrees, I'll open up this yellow handle on the valve, and the sap comes out, and it's syrup. It takes about 40 drops of sap to make 1 drop of syrup.
Now Dan will keep boiling this syrup down, and it gets to the proper consistency and the proper sugar amount, all in it. He's got a couple instruments he uses to test that out to make sure it's just right. Alright, here's step 4. Dan is ready to bottle some syrup. The picture on the left is actually a filter. He filters it down to make sure there's no contaminants in it. And then the picture on the right is he's heating the syrup up to at least 160 degrees. And I'll show a picture of his gauge right here. And it has to be 160 degrees to make sure everything is sterile and there's no anything in it growing. So it's completely sterile when he bottles it. He's got his daughter bottling it right there. If you look at the bottle to her right, it's laying on the side, and that helps sterilize everything inside the bottle, top, inside, and all. So it's ready to ship out now. Now Dan says that the syrup is graded based on its color and its taste. In the early part of the season, he said it actually comes out lighter and it gets darker as it goes through the season. And he told me about 4 different grades. The first one is a light grade, real light. And it's called Fancy, and the old timers claim that is the best. The second one, as the season progresses, it becomes darker. It's called Amber Rich. The third one is called Dark Robust. It has a dark amber color and a strong maple flavor. And the 4th grade is Dark Strong, and it's best used for cooking. So anyway, it's different grades of it. I didn't know that either. The one I got is the light grades. I think I got the best of it, the delicate. Ooh, I like it. It is good, I tell you that. Well, apparently over the years, maple syrup has been touted as expensive and reared by everybody. And Dan gave me a pretty interesting story. His grandfather made maple syrup and was a farmer. And when his father was born, his father was a twin. So he had to call the doctor at the house and delivered both the boys. And his grandfather asked the doctor, "How much I owe you, Doc?" Doc said, "Well, that was a lot of work delivering 2 babies, so you got to pay me 2 gallons of maple syrup." So that's what the pay was back then. So they reared it as very delicate and highly wanted back then, for sure. Well, that's going to about conclude this video. But Dan says he's a small producer, but I tell you what, he's got 160 taps. He says 1 on trees that are 12 to 18 inches, 2 on trees that are 18 to 36, and it has a few trees 3 foot in diameter with 3 taps. So I don't think that's too small, Dan. You're doing a pretty good job there. But anyway, we're going to close this video out. Dan has shipped this stuff all the way to England, all over the country, to England, everywhere. So if you are interested in buying some, I'm going to put his phone number right down here in the video. Just text him what you want, and I'll put the prices here too, so you can kind of get an idea what it will cost if you do want to get some. Anyway, I appreciate everybody coming along. That was very interesting to me. I've always wondered about how they make maple syrup. And Dan, you enlightened me. I appreciate you sharing all your knowledge with us. And I hope to come up to Vermont and check it out for real one of these days. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed that video. Don't forget to click like, comment below, share, and subscribe to the Gigmaster. Never know where we're going next. Stay tuned.